Wort on our Parsha, Beha'alotcha. Two inverted nuns set off two psuchim right in the middle of our Parsha. They mark off an idol of conduct that Klal Israel has come close to, but never attained. Yet this standard of conduct has the clear seal of approval of none other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, according to the Gemara in Shabbos, because he is the one who moved these psuchim to where they are. Rav Samson Rafael Hirsch makes no less a statement than that this section forms one of the most important passages in all of the Torah, and is a true turning point in Jewish history, and thus in the history of mankind. You know these psuchim well, because we open and close the ark with them when we are reading the Torah. Lamed Hey, Vayhi ben soa Aaron, Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adoshem, Vayefutzoi, Vecha, Vayonusu Misanecha Mipanecha. And when the ark would journey, Moshe said, Arise, Hashem, and let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee from before you. And Lamed Vav, Uvnucho Yomar, Shuva Adoshem, Revavot Alfei Israel. And when it rested, he would say, Reside tranquilly, Hashem, among the myriads of thousands of Israel. That these two psuchim are set off by two inverted nuns, physically written into the scroll of the Torah as parenthetical symbols, is so significant that the Gemara in Shabbos 1:15 and 1:16 says that they constitute an entirely separate sefer, which Hashem himself moved to this spot. Tanan Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in a brisa, Vayhi ben soa Aaron, Vayomer Moshe. And when the ark would journey, Moshe said, etc. Parsha zu azela HaKadosh Baruch Hu simanios milamala ulemata. This section, the Holy One, blessed be He, made signs above and below it, lomar, to teach, she'en ze mekoma, that this is in its place. Rabbi Omer, lo min Hashem hu ze. It is not for this reason, ele mipnei shesefer chashuv hu mipnei atzmo, but rather because this ranks as an important book into itself. But why would Hashem move these psuchim here, and where did he move them from? Let us set the stage. It is now Iyar of the year 2449 after the creation of the world. Until this point in Sefer Bamidbar, Bnei Israel had spent almost 1 year at the foot of Har Sinai, where they received and studied Hashem's Torah. They had learned the laws of the Mishkan, for example, and built and inaugurated the Mishkan in actual fact, as we read early on in Sefer Bamidbar. Everything was proceeding well, indeed very well. With the refining machinery of the Mishkan in place, it seemed that the Yidden would finally be able to atone and make amends for Chet HaEgel. All possibility was before them. Rav Hirsch says that the path from the mountain of God was supposed to lead directly and instantaneously to the land of God. But then we'd come to chapter 10, pasuk 33 of our parasha. Vayisu mechar ad Hashem derek shloshes yamim. They journeyed from the mountain of Hashem 3 days. The Kli Yakar brings our Gemara in Shabbos and explains that mehar, from the mountain, indicates that the Yidden ran away from Har Sinai the same way school children run out of school at the end of the day. They thought to themselves, if we delay, he may give us additional mitzvahs. The Midrash explains that Hashem counted this conduct as a sin. It showed that the Yidden regarded the Torah as a burden rather than as a benefit. Still, Hashem did not show his anger. He responded to the Yidden with loving protection, as is evident in pasuk 34. Va'anan adoshem alachem yomam benazam min hamachne. The cloud of Hashem was over them by day when they journeyed from the camp. Next appear our two psukim inside the inverted nuns. But let us skip over them for a moment and first consider the pasuk that follows them, chapter 11, pasuk aleph. Vayhi ha'am kamitanim ra be'aznai Hashem. The people were like those who seek pretexts of evil in the ears of Hashem. Rashi explains on this verse that the Yidden said, Woe is to us! How much have we struggled on this journey? It has been 3 days that we have not had respite from the suffering of the way. This was the start of what became known as the sin of the complainers. And here, for such a seemingly simple foible, one we can easily identify with, Hashem's anger rages. Therefore, our 2 psuchim within the inverted nuns are prefaced and followed by sins. This helps us to understand why Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel suggests in our Gemara that Hashem placed this section here to separate between these 2 sins, because a 3rd sin, that of the meat, was soon to follow. Hashem did not want to have a chazaka, a halakhic presumption well founded by 3 instances that Bnei Israel were permanent sinners, so he placed this separate section, which reflected well on the Yidden, in between as a hefsek, as an interruption. Hence it appears the Chumash is actually misnamed, because it does not consist merely of 5 books, but of the more significant number 7, like the days of the week, as the Gemara explains. Breishis, Shmos, Vayikra, the beginning of Bamidbar, the Parsha of Vayhi ben Soa, the rest of Bamidbar, and Devarim. And where did Hashem take Sefer Vayhi ben Soa from? From the description of the Degalim in Parshas Bamidbar. Rabbeinu Bechaya notes that this explains why nuns were used as a separation, because nun, 50, hints at the origin of the Sefer, which belongs exactly 50 Parshiot Ptuchot earlier. And if that's not enough, we also have heavenly proof that these psuchim constitute their own Sefer, because Sefer Vayhi ben Soa contains precisely as many words as the first and last psuchim of the Torah. Its last pasuk in 10:36 has 7 words, just like the first verse of the Torah, and its first verse, 10:35, has 12 words, just like the last pasuk of the Torah. Sefer Vayhi ben Soa thus marks a zone of promise and hope amidst the failure of the generation of the Midbar to live up to its mission. Even after so much preparation, and at the precipice of so much possibility, when it was time for each individual to act, the generation of the Midbar became complacent. In the midst of the daily challenges and demands of material life, they were unable to stay focused on the importance of their mission. They were unable to see that had they borne their weariness a little longer, they would have been able to accomplish the very purpose for which they were put on this earth. The path from the mountain of God would have led directly and instantaneously to the land of God. But what is so significant about the psuchim themselves that Hashem selected these as representative of Bnei Israel's best behavior? Rav Hirsch explains that in Vayhi ben Soa it is reported that Moshe called to Hashem to rise up, but it is clear in other contexts that Hashem had already arisen. Moshe called out nevertheless. This, according to Rav Hirsch, perfectly displays that every act of Hashem's will was greeted by Moshe and the Yidden joyfully, as if instigated by their own will. In other words, there was no difference between what Hashem wanted and what the Yidden wanted. They were one, and their mission was one. And what is so special about the second pasuk, Uvnucho Yomar? Likewise, Rav Hirsch notes here that because of the word order, it cannot mean 10,000 times 1,000 or some other variation referring to the generation in the desert, because they numbered only 2.5 million. Instead, it must be referring to the myriads of thousands of Jews stretching far into future generations, including ourselves. This pasuk therefore hints at the achdus and continuity of the Jewish people living in accord with Hashem's mitzvahs. And so, like every generation, we too find ourselves within reach of the idol of the inverted nuns. Possibility is before us. The table has been set by our holy rabbis and by our holy Masorah. The resources have been given to us by God Himself. And now we are about to take the next step. The Maharsha on our Gemara notes that for almost a year, as long as the Yidden were at the foot of Har Sinai, they did not sin. They were deeply engrossed in Torah study, and therefore no strange desires entered their hearts. So when we walk out the door of the shul today, after being engrossed in Torah study, it will again be up to each one of us. Each of us that must ask him or herself, will I run away because Hashem might try to add more mitzvahs? Will I complain because I am weary? Or will I remember the awesome mission and responsibility that Hashem himself obviously had the confidence to bestow in me personally? Will I internalize the lesson that our Parsha has marked off so significantly for us, that Hashem expects each and every one of us to grasp the idol that is within our reach? If we would only reach out confidently, be'emunah, because it is within each of our grasps, the path from Hashem's mountain would then lead instantaneously to Hashem's land.